Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Kathleen Kuo, and I'm a program manager with Nevada Humanities, which is our state's council partner of the National Endowment for the Humanities. With Humanities at Play, our goal is to pair gameplay and other interactive activities with thoughtful discussions about the humanities and how they enrich our everyday lives. So, a couple quick notes before we get started. If you're a first time Twitch user, welcome in. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you would like to chat with us and ask questions, please feel free to make a free account, and that way you can type. Otherwise, we don't mind you lurking at all and keeping us up in the background. We really appreciate you being here. Also, if you are a newer user of Twitch, if this is your first time creating an account and joining us, we have a fun feature called a chat command in Twitch, which is an exclamation point followed by a keyword. And we have a list of commands that you're welcome to try out in chat today. You can see some of them already being used by our moderators. Thank you. So if you put an exclamation point followed by that keyword, you can see the text that pops up. So we have one for guest and about, where you can learn more about our guests for today, as well as what Nevada Humanities does. So today I am super thrilled to have joining me on our stream Julianne Cheng, who is a programs manager at Arizona Humanities, our neighbor, where she develops and manages public programs, oversees program partnerships and collaborations, and she also conducts educational advocacy and outreach. So prior to joining Arizona Humanities, she was a senior coordinator of the Writing Center at Arizona State University in downtown Phoenix. She received her BA in History and Art History from UCLA and her MA and Ph.D. in Art History with a focus in Greek art and archaeology from Emory University. As a graduate student, she was a curatorial research fellow at the Michael C. Carlos Museum and the High Museum of Art in Atlanta. Julianne has also participated, this is so cool, in archaeological excavations in, is it Samothrace? How do you pronounce this?
No,
Samothrace,
you got it.
Greece. And she was also the archive manager for the Samothrace Excavations Archive. So, Julianne, welcome in. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me. This is kind of exciting.
Yeah, I think this is such a fun way to get to know people and just learn more about them while showing games off to people. So I really appreciate you diving in and joining me.
Absolutely.
So the game that we're playing today is called A Little to the Left. And this game, I would describe it as kind of a cozy, casual puzzle game. I've only played the first few minutes before, so I'm really excited to puzzle through this with Julianne. We're gonna do our best to solve whatever the game throws at us. But if we get stuck, we don't mind, backseating or spoilers. So feel free to, tell us if we're getting stuck. But we're gonna do our best. So Julianne and I are gonna play about an hour of A Little to the Left together while chatting, just casually about the game and about the work she does. We're gonna take a 5-minute break after that, and then we'll reconvene for a more focused interview and Q&A. But we really love to hear from our chat. We love when there's audience participation. So if you have questions for Julianne, please feel free to share them, as well as questions I might ask of you, the chat. So get settled in and get comfy. Don't forget to hydrate. And I am going to load this game. Okay, Julianne, while I pull this up, I am so curious. What is your background with gaming? What games have you played? Board games, video games?
Oh, if we're talking board games, I have a little more background there.
Okay.
In terms of video games, I've never, gotten really into them. I've played, Mario Kart, and that's pretty much the extent to my knowledge of video games. But I mean, I think with board games, I do love those. We play a lot of board games like as a friend group here in Phoenix. I can get a little competitive sometimes because I do like team-based games. There's actually a really good game that we've been playing the past few get-togethers called Decrypto. I don't know if you're familiar with that game at all.
Decrypto, I
Um,
think so. I remember because it looks like a good alternative to Codenames, the board game.
Yes, yeah, it is. It is kind of like code names, but I don't know how to explain the game. It's like I had to watch an explanation online, and then we kind of got it. But basically, like you get like a series of words, and you have to. There's like a code that you have with the words in which they're ordered or something like that. I'm not explaining it well, but it's a really great game where you have there's like one person that like has the words, and then you have to give them like basically like hints or something like that. And then the point is that you have to figure out the order of the words.
Okay.
Like there's like a code, and then the person giving the hints knows like it's 3, 2, 4 or something like that. And so you say a word that's associated with the other word. And it's team based, so you're playing against another team, and then the other team is also trying to guess your code too. Um, it's a lot of fun, and It works well if you kind of know the people playing,
Uh-huh.
because you don't want to give away too much with the words so that the other team can kind of guess your code. So, but then it can get convoluted too if if you know your team too well. So my I always play against my husband, and his brain just works a different way.
That's
So
funny.
people are always like, yeah,
I know
um,
exactly what you mean. Like someone's like, "Oh, like Kathleen knows this reference. I'm going to say this." And I'm like,
exactly.
I don't think I know." All right, so this is a little to the left. So the way this game works is that they'll just throw these really cute, like I guess just images at us, and then it's up to us to decide. And I think this one we just need to straighten this frame. So I'm just gonna do that. And Julianne, feel free to chime in if you have ideas on how to go. Let's go next. The crypto does sound like fun. I would like to get it. These look like cat toys.
Yeah, so you can put them in a basket. Yeah, so I've been trying to find it, but I actually haven't found it in the stores. But we used to play code names too, and that's always really fun. It's just I like any kind of picture / word game. And I think when we were talking last, I told you I'm not like good at them, but they're just fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to like straighten them and put them in a row?
I think so. There's also I think these are the colors. I think this looks like a gray one.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. I think there's a red one next to it on the left. Yeah.
Do you use like what do you use to write with? Are you like a mechanical pencil person? Regular pencil, pens?
I used to write more with pencil, but now I just exclusively write with pen. It's actually like I found this in the supply closet today. This little gel pen. These are like the good pens,
Oh,
the
there's
Pilot
like
one.
yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Staple.
But yeah, I used to write more with pencil because I just always erased everything, and now it's just like, no, I just write with pen. I do like to handwrite though. I carry around a notebook. We got some moleskins in the office, which are nice. I like the feeling of taking notes, and then you have something kind of physical.
Yeah.
So
The same. I have a million sticky notes all around me because I do take notes on my computer. So sometimes it's just faster and easier to do it on pen and paper with sticky notes. And chat, we have a couple comments. Tannhauser said, the game is called A Little to the Left, but you move that picture a little to the right. Immersion ruined. 0 out of 10. I'm so sorry, Tan. We're about to move some more pictures. Oh, some of them might be to the right. And John says,
yeah,
I really like playing code names with a group of friends. Yeah, it's been a while.
yeah. I feel like it's also a game that you could, like, during COVID and everything, it was a game you could play online too, which was fun.
Yeah, I played, do you know the game Just One?
No.
That's a really good one for doing online because it's a cooperative game, so everyone's working together. But the name is just what it sounds like. You're trying to guess a word, and you only have one word, just one word. And so the person, like someone's trying to guess the word, and so like if the word is chocolate, some clues might be like milk or dark or candy. But if you guess, so let's say you and I both write down milk, and we show it, and we're matching, we have to take our words out of contention so the person guessing won't see it.
I think I've played that game before. But I might be wrong, but it's not a competitive game, right?
No, yeah, so we're working together.
Yeah.
I bet you could make it competitive, but I don't think it is.
I think that's the only reason we didn't play it again as a friend group, because we're like, there has to be a winner, and I think that's yeah.
I think this one is I think we're just
sorry, I'm not being helpful with
Oh
that.
no,
Are
it's
we
all
putting
right.
it by size?
Yeah, I think that's what it ended up being. Sorry, I just kind of went on without you. That's very smart. I just put all my papers in a pile.
But then I like just like the classic Pictionary, those kinds of games too. That's always fun.
There's a great online version of I guess it's not so much Pictionary as it is sort of a combination of Pictionary and telephone called Gartic Phone. I don't know if you've ever played that one. I think this one is. I'm gonna do tall.
Is it by size or height?
Yeah, let's see what happens. Gartic Phone is a lot of fun to do with friends too.
I'll have to check that out.
This right?
That looks nice.
Oh, I only got 1 star. I wonder what the 2 star is. Hi, Nafis. Welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. We have two people in chat who say they love Gardic phone. Yeah. Oh, are these like old school, they look like cartridges for like a Super Nintendo.
Oh. Okay, so are we just straightening this stack?
I will do my best. The controls are a little bit wonky. It's like I can control like several slash one. Okay, let's see if I can straighten this.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's a little, can you hear the little bloop?
Yeah, that means you got it. Okay. And I also didn't realize that we got a different number of stars. So there's a better way of doing something.
Yeah, there must be for some of these. Ostrich, hello, welcome in. He says, gotta work from the bottom up. Rip, did not do that. Okay, this one. Okay, we got a bunch of stamps. I'm just moving these around.
Okay. Do we have to like match them? So should the little bug go into that one on the top left? Little ladybug,
Here.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I heard a ding. Okay.
And then
I heard another ding.
Yay.
I love stamps. Do you collect stamps?
I do not, but I do love snail mail. I just sent out a bunch of letters to my friends, a lot of them living in New York. And they're always excited to get snail mail, and they send me postcards when they're traveling. It's just fun to get something besides bills in the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love snail mail too. Ostrich says, this game is so cool. There are different ways to organize each one's. Huh, I could see that for some of the levels. I feel like I'm sometimes not very good at spatial tests. Some people are just very good at seeing things or like alternate ways. I'd like to think I'm one of those people, but I don't think I am.
I don't see what we're trying to arrange right now, so I'm just gonna...
Yeah, I'm just gonna move things. Oh, I heard a ding.
Yeah.
So maybe we can... Oh, there must be a design.
Okay.
So maybe this curve goes up here.
Yeah, and I see the bottom of the curve kind of down there.
So what other games do you like to play?
I think... You know, I mean, Cards Against Humanities is also fun. Depending on the friend group.
That's true. Yeah, depending on who you're playing with.
Yeah. We had some friends over like a few months ago. We played do you know Pasoi?
No, what is that?
It's like you play it with like normal card deck. I don't know what you call those cards, just like a normal card deck. And now I'm forgetting kind of how to play, but it's like a poker game, except you have a lot more cards and you kind of pass the cards to other people. And that's the thing with games is I kind of forget how to play them, and then I have to relearn when I play them again. But it's a fun game to play with like a group of people. So you can also just play it with like 3 or 4 people too. But yeah, it is kind of based on like the poker principles where you want like a full house or blah blah blah, but you just have it's a little more strategic.
Okay.
So there's like luck, but there's also strategy in that game.
Are you competitive? Are you like a very competitive person?
I am a very not competitive person. It's just when it comes to games, I can get a little competitive, but that's like, I think the only, way my competitive spirit kind of comes out because I don't feel very competitive in life generally. I guess I get it all out when we play code names. I don't know.
No,
Are you competitive?
It really depends. I think it depends on the group and what game. I think, if I'm playing with my niece and nephew, I'll handicap them a little bit. But sometimes, like, if I really want to win, I definitely won't take it easy. Okay. Ooh.
Oh, it's like, is there a pattern that you can see?
I think it repeats. I remember I had issues with this before. Okay, as another note, I really love old school like physical calendars. I actually have one in my office right now. It's a Shiba puppy calendar because my dog is a Shiba. I just haven't put it up, so it's actually just still on the ground, but that's all right. Welcome in. Weirdrek, good to have you here.
Another good game is Exploding Kittens.
I have that one, yes.
Yeah, that's a fun game to play with a lot of people, and then you do have to play with the right people because I like to be pretty mean.
Yeah, like that's right. Some people, I think are sore losers. And so I think when you play with them, you have to sort of take into account like the group dynamic. I think, yeah, board games are really interesting for that reason. Like sometimes, right, someone you know very well who you think might be like a really kind and gentle person, like just like their inner fire is brought out by like a board game, and then someone else
Right.
might not be. So I think the pattern repeats. So I think it's like squiggly, and then there's a space followed by a
Oh,
star.
okay.
So I think
And
I'm
then the
just gonna,
flower.
yeah, and then a
Okay.
space. I hear the ding, so we're good.
Should the little yellow flower be after the first squiggly, or
A yellow flower.
I think there's a yellow sticker down there.
So that will go
Maybe?
after this squiggly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay, so
Oh,
now
I
we have
see.
space and then star. Wow, this is so, I wonder what this person is noting in their calendar. This is very complicated. And then this squiggly. I have friends who use bullet journals, and they use like stickers. Like they buy so many stickers and mark out their days, and it looks so beautiful. I could never do that on my own, but I'm always in awe of people who are really good at planning out their days and weeks and months like that.
Yeah, and I do feel like those people really enjoy kind of that making it look nice. And I also wish I was that organized, but my notebook it's one of those notebooks where I'm writing all over it, not on the lines. I've got arrows going to different ideas, and it's not really legible for anyone else.
We did it. In chat, people say they love that. Jack says, I love that game. Do you mean Exploding Kittens? Ostrich says, Exploding Kittens is great. Okay, let's see. What's next? Ooh, okay. So this one, I feel like this is one of those where there must be also two ways to figure this out. Like we could either
Yeah, like do we do
do,
the pattern at the bottom or?
right, do we do it by like book height or do we do it by pattern? This might take a while as I move
Yeah.
things around. Do you collect physical books? Like I remember when I moved, I was really sad because I had to not get rid of, I think I left them with my parents, but I had to leave behind a lot of my books from grad school. And so now in my
Mm-hmm.
current house, I'm slowly building up my collection again, but it's still not like my book collection that I'm very proud of.
Yeah. Um, I do have a lot of books from grad school that I've kept with me. I mean, art history books are really pretty. There's a lot of really nice pictures in them, and they're expensive. So, and I still like to read them. So I have like all my Greek art and archaeology books, and then I keep a lot of things that I've read in school too. But I do have like one shelf for more like, I guess, academic things that I've collected from school. And then like I have another shelf like the right on my desk that has kind of like fiction that I just enjoy reading on my spare time. So, and I don't know if I'm so much collecting them. Like I'll buy them, but then I might just give them away
Hmm.
depending on how much I like the book. So yeah, I mean, I do have a lot of books, but nowhere near as many as some people I know have. It's like I have enough books that can fill like one wall of a room, but there's always room for more.
I found that when I left grad school, I suddenly had so much time to read like fiction and fantasy books, like all the books I didn't read before for fun. Like now I had a lot of time, and I ended up buying a bunch for my Kindle actually, because I was doing a lot of traveling. How do you feel about like physical versus digital books?
So I also have a Kindle, and I like it because that's where I check out my library books.
Yeah.
So I mainly use a Kindle for checking out books, and then sometimes I'll read a book and I'll like it, and then I'll buy the book
Hmm.
so that I can read it over again because I don't really have a problem reading the same book over and over again. Same with TV shows. So I like both. I do think there is something about having a physical copy of a book. I do like to hold them. But there is that convenience with having the Kindle and being able to travel with it. So I think it's a little bit of a balance.
Hmm.
Um, I will say the nice thing about the Kindle and checking out books in the library is that it's a little easier on the wallet.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, got a comment. Ostrich said, I like physical books, and I've gotten back into reading a little bit before bed as a way to wind down away from screens. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
feel like I am bad about looking at my phone before bed. I know you're not supposed to, and it's not good for your sleep, but sometimes I just can't help it. Like, sometimes I get really bad insomnia. And so what I'll do is at midnight, my time, if I'm still awake, I'll just log on to Wordle and I'll do the Wordle for the day. And then I'll go back to sleep or try to go to sleep.
It is hard to get away from screens. Like, I definitely look at my cell phone a lot too, but I find that I listen to podcasts and that kind of helps because I can still kind of listen to something, but the lights are off. I don't know if you have any podcasts that you like to listen to.
I am a horrible podcast listener, and that's because I just get really distracted, and then I realize that 10 minutes have gone by and I don't know what I was just listening to. But I love the idea of listening to podcasts.
That happens to me too. So
yeah, I listen to them when I'm driving, I guess.
Yeah.
That's when I listen to all my podcasts. We got some comments in chat. Tan says, plus, physical books are impervious to electromagnetic pulses. No wiping the data off of those pages. That is true. Although Ostrich says, but they will still catch flames if you get them too close to the candles. That is very true.
We're getting really old school now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this puzzle, this particular one is really.
I'm sorry, I'm letting you doing this all.
Oh,
the
that's
work
all right.
on your own.
Well, I think it's hard to do from afar because I think there's probably a lot of different ways you could do this. I mean, I'm tempted to just.
I'm trying to see the pattern here.
Yeah.
I
think I have to get these to. Will this connect?
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the connection. I'm wondering where I missed it. Maybe this is wrong. Maybe this edge part should be like on
the end.
Yeah, or maybe we can just try sorting by height. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, just move that to the.
Okay, we'll just have them go by height. See what happens.
How far have you made it through this game?
Oh, just kind of like the first hour, but that was like a very long time ago. Oh, this is one of the ways we can do it. Oh, 2 stars.
Oh, we got 2 stars. Oh, we could have gotten through this faster.
But that makes me upset though, because now the spines are in a different pattern. But
yeah, they're not matching.
Oh, John said you're missing just one book from the pattern. The rest was right. John, oh no. So we were almost there with the other one. Just gave up. Oh, this one. Okay, so this is interesting because all the frames are straight, but the
pictures are angled. Do we have to?
Yeah,
Do we just have to straighten the pictures? Yeah.
Oh, I would be so upset. Well, I don't know. I think, yeah, I could see an argument for doing pictures in this way. I think if you were like very deliberate about it, it would look very cool, but I don't know. I'd be so upset if my frames are all crooked. Oh, can I? And this one.
This one a little bit to the left, yeah.
Oh, no.
It's a beautiful gallery wall.
It is. Maybe it's.
Do the houses have to be maybe? Or yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I was following the street, but not the houses. You got it. Ostrich said, she said the name of the game. She did say a little to the left. You're right. There's another game similar to this called Assemble with Care that I would like to do with a guest at some point too. I think it's similar where you put together like household objects. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think this is another hard one for me. I don't see the...
Yeah, let's start just putting things until something makes sense.
It's not quite like a jigsaw puzzle where you can just do the edges first.
Right. Okay, because I'm not sure where the bottom goes. Maybe... It'll come to us. I think once you get a ding, we'll be good. What is the weather like right now in Arizona? Oh, I heard the ding. I know that there's a heat wave this week, right?
There is. It's been 100 teens for like the past week or two and into the foreseeable future. So it's really hot out here. And I know I was talking to you, before this program about how we have a lot of tomato plants going. So we planted like 40 different tomatoes of different varieties, and we got a lot of tomatoes and they were doing really well. And then it just got super hot So they're all dead now. We just have to pull them up.
I'm so sorry.
But it's July in Phoenix. Nothing's gonna grow unless it's a weed.
The first year I lived in a house in Vegas. So my first, I guess, 2.5 years, I lived in an apartment. And when we finally moved into a house with like a backyard and a little patio, I started a flower garden. And I was so excited, like, April, May, I was like watering and watching all my little sprouts come up. And as soon as it hit like mid-June and the sun came out, like they all like burned to death in like 2 days. I almost cried. It was very sad. I just was like, well, I guess I am not meant to garden here for now. Or maybe I just needed more shade, but it's very, very sad.
I think it just depends on the shade. And because we did have like a really nice we had like a small planter and we put some native flowers in there and they were doing really well. Like there's these beautiful purple flowers, and then the heat rolled in and they all died. And you would think like native flowers would be a little more hardy, but it gets direct sunlight for too long. So everything's kind of hot and I don't know.
Yeah. Well, here's another pencil one. I think both of us work at humanities councils in the Southwest, and before I moved to Nevada, I spent a lot of time.
Does it go by how sharpened they are? Sorry,
I think so. No, you're good. Yeah, no, you're very into this, and I love it. I think it is sharp to dull.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never thought about water until I lived in Vegas. It was the first place I lived where there were like water warnings about conserving like how you used it and on what days. Okay, I want this pencil.
Yeah, so I grew up in Los Angeles, so definitely like water usage was always kind of regulated, and there'd be days that you can water and not water. Actually here in Phoenix we don't, like, the city hasn't really told us anything about water consumption yet, so I don't know if that'll change in the future, but I feel like since moving to Phoenix and being in the desert, I have become even more aware of like the water situation out here in the West.
So Oscar said to look at the erasers, which I was also trying to do, but I think the way that the game lines up, I think there's like a certain like place on a screen where it wants me to put them, and I can't figure out where. So we can either do it, I think, by pencil sharpness or erasers,
eraser nubs.
And I think I'm just not putting them in the right spot. I don't hear a ding. This might take a while.
Do they have to be horizontal? Maybe is that an option? I don't know. I'm just
no. So I don't know if you can see my mouse moving around. Yeah. This is kind of like as much.
Okay.
In a game like auto, like sometimes I'll flip it, sideways like that. I just want my little ding. That's all right. We'll get this eventually.
Yeah.
We'll just brute force it.
I'm trying to see if there's like anything that marks on the screen, and I can tell I need to clean my computer screen.
Okay. Let's try. This. I think I heard it, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, so we did it just a straight. We only got 1 out of 3 stars, but that's all right.
Okay.
We'll take it.
It's still a pass.
It is. Okay, so this one.
Is this also by size, maybe, or?
Let's see, I'll just move things around.
Yeah. Maybe the envelope goes on the bottom.
I think this must be a different way. So I'm thinking this is... I think we just have to arrange things on the screen. Here, I'm gonna move this out of the way. So it made a ding when I put it here. So I think they just...
Oh, so they all fit?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so what goes here? I love that this is almost like a peek, like a little peek into someone's life. Like maybe I like to think that this is someone's, I don't know, we're just going through someone's house and this is like their stationery that we're going through. Oh,
I like the soothing music.
yes.
It makes me feel like we have a lot of time to do this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I bet this stub goes up there. Okay.
Yay.
Oh, this is very cute. Oh, it's very satisfying.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a little cat. John has a question. He says, how much do you care about organization? Like, do things have to be in a certain order or angled the right way? I think it depends. I think that I'm picky about my picture frames, and I'm already a little bit peeved because I know that some are just like a little bit like off center. But like on my desk, I feel like I'm not very organized right now. So I think it depends on whether it's for like personal use or if it's for like outwards, like this is for like public view to see. I think if I'm organized, if I want someone to think I'm clean, I will be clean. But otherwise, I am not super organized. What about you, Julianne?
I love that analysis of yourself.
Yeah.
I would say that I do like to be organized. But it kind of like ebbs and flows depending on what I'm working on. So if I feel like I need to start a project, or if I'm starting a project, I do feel like I have to be really organized. So like put everything in order, put everything in my calendar, have a to-do list. But I like when I'm in the middle of things, it can get very messy for me in all aspects of my life. But my desk could be like piles of stuff that aren't really organized. So I go through like cycles where I get really organized and I'll put everything away. And then there'll be periods of time where it's just a mess. I think generally I'm pretty organized, but I feel like everyone has their moments where
definitely
things just pile up.
I think the greatest, I like when people come over because then it forces me to panic clean my house.
Oh yeah, that's probably the biggest incentive to a lot of cleaning for me. Not that I like live in filth or something.
Yeah, we don't want people to think that Humanities Council people are disorganized and dirty people.
But like
we're human,
I do have I have 2 dogs and like their fur gets everywhere.
Aww.
So I'm just like, vacuuming to make sure people don't think there's like fluff balls everywhere all the time and trying to put things away. So there's like it looks organized, at least the spaces that people will be in. I am guilty of throwing a lot of things in a closet and just shutting the door. Like,
yes, under the bed.
Exactly.
So I think there's probably another way we could do this. I'm doing this by color because I think that makes sense to me, but I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. So if you have thoughts on color, there's also, I've seen puzzles online too, where a friend of mine studied color theory and she loved doing this exercise online where they took like just like a color gradient and then like moved all the colors. So then you would have to reorganize by gradient.
Oh, wow.
That was very relaxing for her. So for this one, I'm wondering what I'm missing. I think I'm struggling with where to put these pink books.
Those 2.
Yeah.
Should they go on the other, like the one on the right goes to the other end maybe? I don't, it looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, or should I start? And I'm just going to stare at this for a little bit because I love the patterns on these books.
These are really pretty books. How do you feel about when like there's like a trend where people organize their books by color?
I have seen that and I think I would be really upset. I think it looks really nice, but then I wouldn't be able to find my books, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like to organize mine by topic. So I have all my cookbooks in one place. I have all of my like graduate school books in one place, and then my like for fun books. That's how I organize my bookcase.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of the same way. I think it would be hard to find the books, and I don't know if I have enough variation in color. So do you cook a lot? If you have enough cookbooks to organize?
Yeah, I love cooking. Oh, John says, I think you have just one book out of order. Oh, really?
Oh.
I'll get back to your question. Sorry, now I'm like, which book is out of order?
Does it have something to do with like the pattern or the size? Like skinny, fat, like?
I'm sure this is one of those where there's multiple ways to do it. And if we were doing like, if we were like in the same room doing a physical puzzle, I bet like we would have an easier time doing this. It's just, yeah, online is like, how do
Yeah.
we work together to figure this out? Um, but yeah, no, I do cook a
Um,
lot, and it's funny that I have cookbooks, but I also look up a lot of online recipes, and I feel like sometimes I should just print them out because I use the same ones over and over for certain things, like just to remind me of
yeah.
temperature, like especially for me. I always have to remind myself, like, what temperature do you cook like lamb rack at? Like, you can start it
Mm.
out, really at a high heat, and then you bring it down to a low heat, and I always forget what the temperatures are. Oh no.
Mm. I don't see it. I feel like the colors look really good.
I know it's hard because I have these, like just
Hmm.
the pink and blue books. It might be of the blue variety. Oh, was that it?
Oh, I heard the. Oh,
Oh, huh. Okay. We only got 1 star. Oh my goodness, another pencil one. Okay, so there are these
do we?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7
Okay.
marks here.
And what are the shavings? Do they go with the pencils?
It's a good question. Yeah, I guess maybe this is one of those where I don't know if the shavings go first and then the pencil. Maybe we could try it
Yeah.
by, maybe we can do it by shortest to not shortest and see where that
Sure.
takes us. Could be totally wrong for all I know.
I wonder, is it frustrating for the audience when they see us struggling through a pattern and they
I
can
bet
see?
it is. Yeah, they're probably like, Kathleen, just move it over. Yeah, Ostrich just said, do you want to know a different way for that last puzzle? Ostrich, have you played this game all the way through? You seem to know a lot. Yeah, I don't mind if you want to share the last puzzle, how to organize the by color. Do you do it by pattern? Is that how they did it? Okay, so we have all of these shavings. Oh, he says, I've seen some of these middle puzzles on another stream. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
We put these below.
I think there's only 6 shavings though.
1, 2,
And
3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, maybe one of them doesn't have a shaving. Oh, this is tricky.
yeah, is it like, should the shavings go by size too?
Yeah, let me see. Okay, I'm just gonna put them above here so we can
Yeah.
see. I think like most to least. That looks
Yeah.
vaguely right. He says there was a horizontal stripe on each of the books, and you could arrange them like stairs stepping up. Oh, that's very clever.
Oh, wait, there's also patterns on the pencils too.
There are. I wonder. What do these pass? I wonder if it's like 1, 2. Is this a 3? I know I'm like,
Hmm.
what do the patterns mean? Maybe I'm gonna. Now I'm intrigued by the patterns. Will you go here? Oops. I'm just guessing. So Julianne, I'm curious. In graduate school, or even before, did you have to take different languages?
Yeah, so in college I took Greek and Latin for reading and writing, only ancient Greek and Latin. And then I also took German for reading.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's pretty common in grad school if you need to know a language to just do it for reading. And then when I got to grad school, I took French for reading and then continue a little bit with my Greek. It's sad though, because I just like forget a lot of it because I haven't done it in a while. But I do find it fun to learn languages. I would say I'm maybe better at the reading and writing than the speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just get too nervous trying to be correct.
Yeah.
So that definitely inhibits me. But no, it was actually it's also super fun to take languages, I think.
It
That's
definitely
something I
is.
miss about school. Do you speak any other languages?
I guess it's a question of, do I speak it well? Or have I had experience? I guess with my parents, I speak in a mix of Mandarin and English, like broken Mandarin and English, because I only know like basic, like very, very basic Mandarin. And both my parents are from Taiwan and they're Hakka, but they never taught my siblings and me Hakka when we were growing up.
Mhm.
So I guess for me, when I heard it in a household, I always thought, oh, I'm in trouble because they don't want us to know what they're saying. So now whenever I hear Hakka, like in Taiwan or elsewhere, I think, oh, I'm in trouble.
Oh,
And then when I was in middle school, I took German because everyone is like, Spanish was like the popular language. Like everyone took
yeah,
Spanish.
yeah.
And then all of like the cool kids took French. And then I took German because I didn't want to be like everyone else. Like German was the least popular, and so I took it.
Yeah.
And I think we all took pride in taking German because we were like a very like small, close knit group of students. So that was a lot of fun. In college, I took German for a year, and then what else did I take? I took Tibetan my second year because
Oh,
I thought
wow.
I've never taken Tibetan. It was very cool that I went to U Chicago for my undergraduate, and so we were very lucky to have people who offered Tibetan, and so I took it, and I loved it so much. It was very difficult though. Oh, the
Oh,
shaving
did that
just flew
just
away.
fly off the
It
screen?
did. Wait, it just flew away. Will it fly away for anything
Wait,
else?
can we just like
Where'd it
try to make the others
go?
fly away? Maybe that's we're
Yeah,
supposed to get rid of them?
yeah, maybe. It just whooshed off the screen. Oh my goodness. Okay.
That's so cool that you took Tibetan though.
It was
Have
definitely
you
I think it's the most difficult language I've ever taken, but also one of the most beautiful languages. And my teacher, my professor, was an actual Tibetan monk, which was
Oh
super
wow.
cool. So then we had someone who not only taught it, but was actually someone from that culture. So we did
Yeah.
just really, really, really great learning from him and listening to his stories. Oh,
Have you been
flew away again.
just I think we're supposed to just toss them off.
Okay. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
Is this right?
are we
Oh, no.
I don't
Okay.
think okay. Should we just put them back into like height order maybe?
Yeah, I thought I was onto something with like the shapes, but maybe they're in the wrong order. Um Asher said try the line in the center. The line in the center. There's a line.
I
This line?
can't see the numbers that well from my screen, but
Yeah, they're just so there's like a line, looks like a less than sign.
okay.
So I was trying to do it by that, but maybe we can do it by I'll just do it by short to not. Oops. The very basic way.
Yeah.
The far left one I called a line. Oh, the cat!
Oh.
Okay,
Oh, we still
we did
passed.
it.
I'm happy with it.
Oh, interesting. Oh. Oh, what do you do with this one?
No.
Oh, I wonder if we're trying to
Um,
find the right place to put it so it sounds nice.
should we drop it on the edge? Then?
Have you ever used a record player? Do you own one?
I do, but I mean, we just press a button and then it drops. So, um, yeah, we have a record player at home, and then my partner collects vinyls.
This is really
So,
fascinating.
are we trying to avoid the scratches?
Oh, wait. Here, let me move this off. Can we turn this off? Oops. Oh no. Okay.
Oh,
I've made a mistake. Okay. I was hoping we could like pause it.
yeah.
Oh, I see the scratches. You're right. What's this? It's kind of hard to see because
Yeah, because it keeps moving.
yeah. I want this to slow down. I can see it. That's good. That's a good call though. Yeah, because I see where it has like the pink lines when maybe when it hits something.
Yeah.
I used to work part-time at the Archives of Traditional Music at Indiana University, so part of my job involved digitizing vinyl records that were from like fieldwork collections or just like commercial recordings, and then they would be stored in our archives. And this reminds me of that, except this is way more stressful because I don't know what we're doing.
I don't know. Can we get a hint from the audience?
Yeah. Does anyone have any idea? Because I like your idea of avoiding the scratches. Can I? Okay. Will this slow
But
it
I
down?
honestly, it's going so fast I can't see
I
where.
know. Okay. Maybe let's slow it down. I know I'm getting a little bit dizzy because I feel like it should be like I'm
Oh,
putting
it
it.
slowed it down. Yeah.
Yeah, around here, and then height-wise. Oh no.
Uh,
The first line from the outside looks scratch-free. The first line from the...
First line from the outside.
Oh? Maybe we're trying to find... I can't tell if we want like this to be pink.
Oh.
And then...
See.
Is it just... I'm sure the chat is like, Kathleen, you are hurting our ears.
I'm not being helpful.
That's all right. As long as you're not getting dizzy by looking at this. I know, like maybe I like my idea is that maybe both of these should be pink, but I wonder if they shouldn't be pink. 2 circles out from there. 2 circles out.
2 circles out from there?
2 circles. But this one has a scratch, right?
Yeah. I mean, for all I know, they're all scratch and I just can't see.
Should this be pink? Okay, we'll make it pink.
I feel like we want it to be pink, right?
Yeah.
It's like lighting up.
The last white circle towards the outer edge. The last
Okay.
white. But that's this one, right?
I think it's too... I don't know if it can go any further.
Further out. This one? We're just going to put it on each of them and see what happens. Whoever programmed this game must have... I wonder if they like calculated like frustration.
Okay.
Versus player satisfaction. You're lining up the handle, not the needle. Oh, I was lining up the needle.
Oh, I see.
What this? Oh. Okay. Well, I was lining up the needle, I guess, because I thought, isn't that where?
That's yeah, that makes sense.
That
too.
seems like cheating. Okay, Julianne, we're on chapter 2. We made it to chapter 2. It looks like this is all cooking. So we got about 10 minutes. Let's play about 10 minutes of this, and this will take us to about an hour in of our stream, and then we'll take a little break. So,
sure.
Oh, wow. So, this is labels.
Do you want to just straighten them?
Yeah. Let's do tomatoes. That's right?
Yeah.
I heard a ding. Okay. 1 star. That's fair.
1 star.
Oh, I wonder if there's a way, maybe they wanted us to make a pattern, but that's okay. Oh, is this like pickling jars?
It is. Is it by how much is in there or how big the jar is?
I guess that's 2 ways, right? So we could either do by height or color. Do you have a preference?
Oh, yeah. Let's try color this time. Let's do something. Yeah. I feel like we keep doing height.
Yeah. Okay, so this seems to be... This right?
Oh, I heard a ding.
Only 1 star?
Oh, okay.
I feel like that was worth 2 stars. We're thinking outside the box. Oh, I like this one.
Do we stack the spoons?
Yeah, let's try that. This is a very pretty spoon. I wonder what that one's used for. Did we do it? Okay.
Oh.
Oh, fun.
Okay.
John says, do you stack your spoons? No. Maybe if I had more room in my cutlery drawer. Right now we have one of those. We have a drawer for our cutlery, like our everyday, like forks, spoons, measuring cups, and knives. I have a block for like steak knives. And then I have like a separate like bamboo divider where I put chopsticks, forks, spoons, and like butter knives. But in a spoon drawer, I use those like Chinese like soup spoons, kind of like ramen spoons. I put them in the same division as like the regular spoons so they don't stack.
I yeah, we don't stack spoons, and ours is not as neat as yours sounds right now.
Oh.
We have like the utensil drawers, which is kind of somewhat organized, but then we also just got a mix of like rice paddles, soup spoons, and like measuring spoons all kind of hodgepodge together. And then we have one of those like stands on our counter with a bunch of other spoons.
Mm-hmm.
So are you doing this by pattern?
I don't know. I'm just sort of moving things around because it looks like sometimes like one will move and then sometimes two will move, and I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe it's if we go by bottom. So if I move this, they all move. I see.
Oh,
Okay, so it's
some of them
just,
have cracks in them.
yeah. Oh, maybe they line up. Here, let's see. Does this have... We can line up the cracks. Although now this whole thing is gonna move. Okay, let's see if we can
Okay. But then
line
you
up
can
the
move.
crack.
Can you move the? Yeah.
This. You do it?
Yeah.
I heard a ding.
I heard a little.
Yay!
Well, we're on like the 1-star streak. I don't know how to.
I think we got 2 stars once. I'll take that. In chat, John said, "I feel like it would topple every time you open a drawer." It doesn't topple, no. And then he writes, Adam says, that's what happens. Every time I open or close a drawer, the little Jenga tower I made falls down immediately. Oh no. And then John says, I think you could have lined up the pattern on the bowls. I think we could have too, but I think the cracks were just... We're in this for speed. Oh, this is... Oh, we can... Okay, so we can only move... We can't move these down, but we can move these left to right.
Do you want to? Are you doing it by color?
I think I'm gonna do it. Maybe I'll try to make like a pattern.
Pattern?
Yeah, let's see if this.
Yeah.
This.
That looks nice.
And then I'm just making this up. Maybe. Is this one? I heard a ding.
I heard a little.
1 star. Okay, that's fair. John, okay, Anger Ostrich says, cracks were too tempting. I was hoping it would explode when I got it. No. All right. Chicken eggs.
Do we just move them all over to like one row on the top, maybe?
No. Huh.
No, that would be too easy.
I guess this is
Oh, I heard a little.
Yeah, my I'm a little bit okay. So even though that level just ended, my boyfriend gets mad at me sometimes when I take eggs out of the carton, like not in order, because he likes them to like make a pattern or all be grouped, and I'll just like grab one.
Wait, that's how I do my eggs. So that's why I was like, put them all on one line. All the eggs to be together.
I don't always do that. Tan says, only 1 star. You are robbed. I know. I love these. Okay, so
wait, are those a little twist tie things at the?
Yeah, and are these?
Oh, and there's crumbs.
Yeah, I wonder what we do with it. Oh, do we get rid of
toss them off the screen?
Oh, okay. That's funny. I like this mechanic. Okay, well, that's easy. We'll just toss all the crumbs right away.
Do we stack them or put them in order?
Maybe they line up like a puzzle. Like maybe some of these, like...
Oh.
We could probably do it by size too, but maybe we can try it like a puzzle.
You're going for 2 stars?
Right. Let's see if they'll give us 2 stars for this. I want this to be straight. It doesn't want to be straight. Okay. It's so... I don't know how... Like, why sometimes the game is like... It'll line things up perfectly, and then sometimes it's just kind of like all over. But let's see if I can find one that...
It doesn't want to.
It doesn't want to cooperate.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it wrong. Maybe it starts elsewhere. I'm sorry if this is like, if you're internally yelling.
Yeah, to the audience.
Ostrich said the eggs get lonely. Yeah, just a little bit. Do you ever do farmers markets where you are in Arizona, or like the CSAs?
We have a farmer's market near us. Sometimes we go to on Saturdays. They still do it in the summer. It just moves indoors, and it's frankly too hot for me to want to go to it. But during the rest of the year, we like to go to it, and that's why I buy my bread and cheese and like all the unhealthy items that you probably shouldn't get at a farmer's market, not the vegetables or anything.
I love farmers markets. Oh, this made a ding. I heard a ding. Oh, we're doing it.
So you're right. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Oh, it kind of looks like they're holding hands.
It does. It's like otters holding hands.
Yeah.
Is it? No. Hmm.
Nice.
I think this is it. We get 2
Yeah.
stars? 1. Okay, that's all right. We'll take
Okay.
it. A family of bread ties, says John. Yep. Okay, I think we have time for maybe 1 or
Okay.
2 more levels. Oh.
Should we throw the stickers away?
Oh, wait, can we? Oh, it just fell off.
Yeah.
I heard somewhere someone said the stickers are edible, but I've never tried eating one because it weirds me
Oh,
out.
I didn't know they were edible.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But these are a lot of stickers, my goodness. There, one more. Oh, that was it?
Nice.
Oh, only 1 star.
I guess you're just killing stickers.
Yeah. Okay, this one is pasta. Oh, I love this one. I love pasta. Do you have a favorite shape?
Pasta. Honestly, I just like a regular spaghetti noodle. But we have a pasta maker at my house, like one where you don't have to like put it through the crank. It's actually an automated one where you just put the flour and the egg and the water in, and it mixes out for you, and then the shapes come out.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I highly recommend if you eat a lot of pasta but you don't want to knead it yourself. Are you doing it by size or?
Well, this is interesting because here, do you see how it's like automatically like moving? Here, I'm just gonna put them all on the line and see. Huh.
Okay. Maybe can we do it by number of twists?
Yes, although how would you do it for like the straight ones? Because it feels
I think
like
that maybe the straight on the edge, yeah. And then
does this go here?
that looks right.
This looks like aesthetically right, but I don't know if it's actually. How do I know if this is right? Oh, I heard a ding.
Oh,
Is that right?
I heard a ding.
1 star.
Yay! Okay, you know. Do you have a favorite shape?
I like cavatappi. Do you know that one? It's kind of like a squiggle. I think those are very satisfying.
I know what you're talking about.
I like to use it for mac and cheese. Like I love mac and cheese with the elbows, but I like cavatappi because they have like an extra squiggle, so it holds a little bit more, a little bit bigger. It's very satisfying. Shells are fun. I like to do like Italian sausage and like the medium shells.
Ooh.
Oh, cups. This is great. Okay, so we can only
So we do like a.
Oh, this is funny.
The seagull one is interesting.
Yeah, I'm just gonna rotate these to see like what's on them. It's like we're trying to make a story, maybe.
Yeah. I do like shell pastas for my mac and cheese. I'm convinced that they hold the most cheese in their little pockets, but.
Do you make mac and cheese from scratch with like a roux and everything, or?
I do. I use do you know Ina Garten's recipe?
I don't.
It's Gruyere with cheddar.
That sounds very good.
Yeah.
I recently I had some friends over for the 4th of July, although technically the 3rd of July. They came over on the Monday, not the actual 4th. And I made was it like sort of like the not I guess it is kind of molecular gastronomy, but like the sodium citrate recipe. Do you know that one? So sodium citrate, if you use it the right way, and there's like recipes online that will tell you how to use it, it's what makes like Velveeta and American cheese like extra ooey and gooey. So if you use sodium citrate with any cheese, it will give you that same result, which is really interesting. Yeah, so you don't have to do like a roux or use evaporated milk. You can use sodium citrate. Although if you use too much or if you do it wrong, then it comes out like grainy or funny tasting. But it's a very, very cool, like when you get it to work right, it's like magical watching your like parm or your Gruyere turn into this like silky Velveeta-esque cheese sauce.
But you'll have to share that recipe with me. So then do you prefer like the stovetop mac and cheese versus like kind of the casserole kind where you put it in the oven?
I do like baked mac and cheese because I like when it gets kind of crusty on top.
Yeah. I don't know. I like a panko crust, a little bit of crunch.
Oh, I got this. I think we're supposed to match the background with Okay, let's see. Like, I think we want the shadows to be behind the cup. So now I got like this bird to line up. I think that's how we do it. Otherwise, I'm a little bit puzzled. I think we want that guy to be lined up.
Oh, I heard a ding.
Yeah. Where is the next thing that we can match? Oh, somebody at Half Sachet, welcome in. They say this is the best one yet. We're tied with the record player. Is that with this one or the pasta one? John says a small bit of crunch is always best, especially with lasagna edges. Oh, I haven't made lasagna in forever.
My partner makes a very good lasagna with a bechamel sauce. It's so good.
That does sound really good. Okay, where is this?
I don't know the answer to this puzzle, so I'm just letting you kind of
I'm trying to
figure that one
find
out.
the place where we can get... Is this... I think this bird matches.
Oh, I heard the ding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Julianne, let's do one more. Let's make this one, whatever this one is, will be our last one, and then we'll take a break. Oh, is it just place setting?
Can we just straighten this up? Okay. Oh, the fork is not straight. Ah.
Oh, okay, well, that was quick. The cat's like, nope. Oh, wait, was that not right?
Oh.
Do we have to do it again? The cat?
The cat says so.
Oh, no. Wait, cat, why are you moving? Do we have to do it before?
Oh, gosh. You have to do it really fast.
I don't know. Okay, I feel like deep breath. The cat. Do not.
Oh, okay. Can you just move everything into a corner?
Yeah, can we get away from the cat? No. What is the answer to this? Do we like block the cat?
Oh, you have to like click on its paw to like
to shoo it away. I can try.
Away,
okay.
Yeah.
If it comes again, I'm ready. No. Oh, it worked.
Yay. Okay.
I think this is it.
That's pretty cute. That was a good one to end on.
Yeah, and that was a good suggestion to click on the paw. I just sort of freaked out when I saw the paw. All right, everyone, I'm going to transition to the two of us. So I'm going to stop our game, Julianne, and then it should be the two of us. Okay, we are going to take about a 5-minute break, so that way, anyone watching, and including Julianne, we can, go get some water, we can stand up and stretch. So we'll be back in about 5 minutes, and then we'll have our more focused interview where we get to learn more about Arizona Humanities and any questions you might have about Julianne. I know that I definitely want to ask her about what she did in Greece, for example. You could also ask her about eggs. A lot of people are saying egg in chat, so you can ask her about eggs. All right, we're going to take a break, so let me pull that screen up, and we'll see you very soon. Thank you. everyone. Welcome back. I hope you had a good break. Thank you again for joining me and Julianne while we played a little to the left. So this is the portion of our stream where we get to know her a little bit better, as well as the great work that to do over at Arizona Humanities. So again, while I'm going to be asking questions of Julianne, if you have any questions that come up, feel free to ask them in chat, and I'm happy to ask them of her while we just have this conversation. So Julianne, I just thought, so this is something I'd like to ask of all of our Humanities Council friends. How do you end up into humanities? Like, when I was reading your bio, you mentioned that, you went to graduate school for history, art history, and archaeology. Like, have you always known that you wanted to do something in sort of like the arts and culture field with the humanities? And then how did you end up in Arizona?
Yeah. So, where should I
That's a lot of
begin
questions
with that?
wrapped up in one.
So I think because my background is in art history and archaeology, so I've always been interested in kind of the arts and culture field. And I think for a lot of folks that go into art history, there's two traditional tracks, I should say. There's like the kind of academic, like become a professor, say an academic track, and then a lot of folks go into the museum world, usually as curators. But the idea of like kind of engaging with the public and doing more of like a public facing humanities kind of work, I think is part of something that I've thought about since I have liked to be in museums and that museum world. But definitely since joining Arizona Humanities, I think my idea of the humanities and everything it can do has definitely shifted. And it's really broadened too. But I guess firstly, how I got to Arizona was actually my partner went to law school out here in Phoenix. So he came out here and then we just decided to stay. It's a little closer to my family back in Los Angeles, and the weather is pretty nice here.
When it's not
There's
like
a lot of
117.
except the summer months where it's just awful. The rest of the year, I promise, is beautiful and it's great for like being outdoors, which is really nice. But yeah, so that's what led me to Arizona. And then I was kind of looking at job listings at, different cultural institutions like museums and all that sort of thing. And then Arizona Humanities was, listed. And I didn't know about humanities councils before. So that was my first introduction to it. I learned later though that there's a Georgia Humanities, and they actually, I think, supported some of the programs I went to. And when I was a grad student, I just didn't know that.
That's very cool.
So that's kind of what got me to Arizona and the Humanities Council. Just thinking more about my work in the museums and that kind of public facing work. But again, like I said, as soon as I joined, I learned a lot more about what the public humanities actually means. And it's trying to bring that outside of academia, which I really love. And I think as a grad student, I knew, maybe more towards as I was finishing up my dissertation that I was not going to stay in academia and I wanted to do something else. So this job has been kind of that perfect marriage where I get to stay in the field of the humanities and I'm constantly learning things. And I'm sure that other council folks here probably agree that you get to learn things and go to programs. But it's just a more, I think, flexible and fun vibe.
I think so, definitely. And welcome in, Kitten Hijinks. Thanks so much for being here. Hope you're having a great day so far. Julianne, what got you interested in, I guess you started out in history and art history before moving to archaeology?
Yeah. So, I will say, like, I've always been interested in arts and history. That goes back to, I don't know, when everyone's a kid, they're reading. I was always reading historical fiction. I also always loved art. I took a lot of art lessons when I was younger. I mean, I guess everyone did, but that's been something I've always been interested in. I think it's just I don't feel like I have the actual proficiency, the skill to become an artist, which is what I want to do when I was a young child. But art history was that nice medium where I got to study art, study history. And so that's kind of how I got into in college. And I just fell in love with Greek archaeology. I took one class freshman year. It was just like a survey course, but it was, I just found it so interesting to hear about like the mythology and how it ties into the arts and culture. And that's another thing, because I've always been interested in Greek mythology. Started in second grade. Do you know those scholastic book fairs where they had like a different books?
Yeah.
I picked out a book about Greek mythology. I don't know if it was appropriate for a 7-year-old. That kind of got me really into it. And so that's why I took that class freshman year. And since then, kept taking more classes in Greek archaeology. And then I went on a dig in college too, in Italy, and that was just so much fun. So that kind of just cemented what I wanted to do. And then, speaking to faculty, they were saying you have to go to grad school if you want to keep pursuing this. So, yeah, that's kind of how I ended up in grad school, and then, kept exploring different possibilities. And I don't know if that's a good straight answer, but
No, I love that. I love that, something, I guess, when you're a child, so it sounds like, art inspired you as well as Greek mythology, and then you sort of took that route that took you through college and into academia into where you are now.
yeah. I mean, the thing with art history, especially when I think about Greek art, is like there's a lot of storytelling that happens through the visual arts. And I think that's really cool. You can have a whole narrative that's communicated just through, one, pot. So and just so people know, my background my focus is in pottery, Greek vase painting. So
Do you like the Disney movie Hercules?
I did. I think when I was a kid, I also watched like the live action Hercules. So
Oh yes, I was thinking like,
yes,
is there a live action Disney movie? But no, the TV show, and then
yeah,
Xena Warrior Princess.
yes. I think I watched one episode a while ago just to remind myself, and I'm just, wow, this was not a good show. But I was like,
Yeah, they're very cheesy, but yeah, it's funny. Like, yeah, they're like very reminiscent of the time. So it's like if you were,
yeah,
a child of like the 90s or the early 2000s, like those
yeah.
shows. Or not child, you could be like, a teenager or an adult, but it was from those times. I would love to learn more about the work you do at Arizona Humanities, Julianne. I know, leading up to this, I wanted to learn a little bit more about you. And I think we discussed like Frank Talks. Are you still doing the
Mhm.
Representation Matters? Is that still ongoing? I'm
Yeah.
wondering if you can sort of describe, your position at Arizona Humanities and then some of the programs that you oversee, just for our chat to learn more about you and the work you do.
Sure. So I'm the programs manager, and I oversee all of our public programs. So, like you were saying, we have our Frank Talks program, which is a community conversation programs that we host in partnership with the state library. So those are discussion programs happening in local libraries across the state. Usually, the discussions are centered around current events,
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes controversial topics too. And I also oversee our Speakers Bureau program. I think a lot of councils have a Speakers Bureau program. Ours is called AZ Speaks. I think it's been running for about 30 years or more. That's our longest running program. And that is one way that we reach probably the widest audience because we have so many co-hosting organizations.
Mm-hmm.
But some of our newer programs that we've started in the past few years include Representation Matters that we talked about, which is really focused in thinking about civic engagement and what that means. Also thinking about representation in our democracy and really focusing on the history and the stories of underrepresented groups. We actually had a really good program this Saturday. It was an in-person program called The Art of Drag. That's part of that series. It was a lot of fun. We had a scholar on talking about the history of drag, and then we had a drag queen, local drag queen, talking about her experience in Phoenix as a drag queen. And it was just an awesome program. And I don't know about other council people, but it's been a struggle to try to get people back into some of our in-person events. So we got 75 people at that
Wow,
program.
that's
So
amazing.
it was really exciting.
At
Yeah.
the
And everyone
library or
at the library.
wow.
Yeah. So we hosted at the Burton Bar Library, which is across the street from our office.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was really great attendance, and everyone was really like supportive and excited to learn. And there was a long like Q&A portion too, and everyone had like fun questions for the speakers. So it went really well. So I'm kind of riding that high right now. That program went
No, congrats. That's awesome.
yeah. And we're actually going to host the same program, but virtually in September. Again, like I don't know how it is with other councils, but there is still a demand for the virtual programs. A lot
Mhm.
of people like being able to tune in from everywhere. So we're trying to find that balance between doing some in person, but making sure we have that virtual option, which keeps kind of access, pretty wide for a lot of folks
Mhm.
that can't come into Phoenix. So that's one of our program series. And then we have one called Climate Conversations that's focused on the environmental humanities. And I know a lot of councils are also host other programs that think about the environment. And that's something that we started about a year or two ago.
Mhm.
it's really like a lecture series. So we invite different scholars, artists, authors, poets to talk about the environment through a different humanities lens. So it is pretty diverse in terms of topics. Of course, being in the Southwest, we do have a lot of people on talking about water
Yeah.
and just the different issues around our water supply here. And it's interesting to hear it from different points of view. So we had like a policy expert on talking about water from that kind of I don't know how to, I mean, it's a policy kind of point of view. And then we also had an author on talking about his book and, his own research into water in Phoenix, but how he's also incorporated into his narrative, his fiction for kids. So a lot of different types of speakers. It's been a really popular series. So there's definitely a lot of interest in talking about, water specifically, but also just the environment and how the humanities kind of ties into that, and might be preaching to the choir given the audience here, but I feel like there's kind of sometimes that disconnect between, you think of climate change as very science oriented, but it really is about getting people to really invest in this solution for climate change. I think having the stories and talking about like the human experience with it is important. So I don't know, that's a program that I'm really excited about that we've been running. And then, sorry to keep blathering on, but
No, no, you're
I'll
good.
keep going until you stop me. Another thing we wanted to do here is reach a younger audience too, and I know a lot of councils are working on that as well as trying to get to that K-12 audience. So we launched a program called AZ Reads, where we partner directly with teachers to fund their literacy programs in their classroom. But it's not a grant program, it's a program partnership. So we're actually able to go and purchase the books and have them delivered to the teachers. We also help connect them with authors and libraries. So we're a little more involved in the planning process. And then we also get to just kind of deepen our relationships with teachers across the state, which has been really awesome because I've learned so much about just how K-12 works in Arizona, like the situation with students right now, like everything happening post-COVID, and just where students are. So that program has been really good. We've been able to just make a lot of really good connections and get a lot of books in the hands. It's always fun ordering. Like, I think we bought 5,000 books, a little over that, for kids this past year. And we're going to hopefully keep doing that. So that's something that's also been really exciting. And I work on that program with my colleague, Samantha Anderson. If she watches this is a
shout outs to Samantha, wherever you are.
She's our grants manager. So we kind of developed that program together, and we're still kind of growing that by doing other program partnerships. We are working with one author, Brian Young, who's from Arizona. He lives in New York now, but he's originally from Fort Defiance, and we're going to do a couple programs with him in the next couple of weeks up in the Navajo Nation, so at Window Rock and Tuba City and some other places. So we're pretty excited about that. We're hoping to just keep kind of growing our younger audience too, because I feel like if you want people to care about the humanities, you have to start young.
Yeah,
Get them when they're 5.
Right. Well, I mean, like you said, when you're a child, you're inspired by all these things that are maybe you didn't know at the time, but were connected to the humanities. And now that you're older, you can sort of see that pathway that you took. So I love that.
Absolutely. I feel like it starts with a good book, and
Yes.
then you just get really interested in the topic and you keep going.
Yeah, and thank you for the follow, Kitten Hijinks. We really appreciate it. We have a question in chat, although this might be more for me than you. Angry Ostrich asks, are you familiar with a game called Apotheon? And the answer to that is yes, I am, because it's all about, when you mentioned your love of like Greek art and pottery, I think this is a game where it's sort of like a fighting, like a 2D game. It's kind of like a side-scrolling game, and you are like a figure from like kind of like a vase. It's like in that art style, and you like travel around and
Oh,
I guess you poke people like your javelin or something, but I have seen it. I'm not sure if you have, Julianne, but I did think about
I
that for you.
I'll check that out after this program. My knowledge of games is very minimal, but I will take a look at that one for sure.
Yeah.
Especially after today. The game we played was really fun.
Yeah, so that's right. It sounds like you're more versed in board games, which is great because we love board games. And I think there are also some really good I'm trying to think. There's one called Santorini. Are you familiar with that one? Like that's like the
No.
immediate Greek connection. If my If there weren't things in the way of my closet, I would go and pull it out for you right now. But if you're familiar with the city of Santorini, which is, I think it's known for its architecture, like the white buildings with like the blue domes.
Hmm.
So this game, I think it's for, I don't know if it's 2 to 3 or 2 to 4 players, but it's almost like 3D chess in which you try to build just like a whole building. So you have like the base, the middle, a third level, and then a dome, I think. Or maybe it's the base, the middle, and then a dome. But you can stop people. It's kind of like 3D chess or tic-tac-toe, and it's very satisfying,
Okay.
like building these buildings across the board, like you're building the city of
Yeah.
Santorini in Greece. So, and after she said it just
I've never seen that game.
yeah, I can send you a list after our meeting today with some of the things that
Yeah.
people brought up in chat. Ostrich said it just instantly jumped to mind with you mentioning Greek pottery. So, yeah,
Well,
I did think about it for her. But then in the end, I thought it might be more fun to talk over a little to the left. Um, I am wondering, Julianne, if you could talk about some of your favorite moments with Arizona Humanities so far, just some highlights. So you mentioned that recent event, which is so exciting, but I'm wondering if there are other, like moments or highlights that stand out to you that you like to share with our chat.
yeah. Um, I think the first thing that comes to mind is it's a program that we did with the University of Arizona in Tucson. It was part of their Humanities Festival, which I think is month long in October.
Mm-hmm.
But this was actually when I kind of was just starting out Arizona Humanities. They had Renee Tajima Pena. She's a documentary filmmaker. She made the PBS series Asian Americans. She came to speak at the University of Arizona, and she just I don't know if anyone has heard her speak, but she's an amazing speaker. She was just talking about the process of making Asian Americans, showing us clips and talking about. Sorry,
You're good.
just so you know, my mic does not have a stand, so I'm trying to be careful
You're
here.
good.
Um, talking about the Asian American experience, including her own experience growing up in California, and she actually grew up right where I grew up
Mm-hmm.
in the Pasadena area. So she was mentioning all these things that I was kind of familiar with. And that was one of my first in person programs that I got to go to because I started during COVID when everything was virtual. And I don't know, I went with my boss, Brenda, the executive director, and we were both kind of tearing up and just like, you know, it's one of those programs where you have all the emotions. Like there's like laughter because Renee Tajma is also really funny. So she's cracking jokes, but there's also these like moments where you can feel her pain, and it was such a great program. So I think that really struck with me, and it also reminded me like I love virtual programs, but the impact of kind of being in a space with other people listening to a program it's something that I think is special. So that's one of the things that comes to mind. Let me think of I think another thing is um, this happened last year. I was talking about Easy Reads and
Mm-hmm.
partnering with different schools. So one of the schools that we partner with is Carl Hayden High School, which is actually pretty close to Arizona Humanities office. They invited us to table at their book fair. So I went as a representative. I went by myself, and I wasn't expecting the number of students to be there. There was like 2,000 kids, and what we had done during this book fair is we pre-purchased a bunch of books from two of our local bookstores,
Mm-hmm.
Palabras and Grassroots, and we were giving them out for free to kids. And the kids were just so excited about free books. It was wild because I wasn't expecting to be like overrun by all these kids. We are doing this event again this year. We're going to come better prepared with more books.
Yeah.
But it was awesome, and we also had the Barrio Bookmobile there, which is a that's run through another nonprofit, but they have it's a bookmobile where kids get to come out and pick out a book to keep. So there were hundreds of books that were given away, and the kids were super excited. But it was just like the energy during that book fair was really exciting, and seeing people get so excited to get books. The kids would be like, "Wait, can I take this? Can I keep this?" And I don't know. It was fun.
I think that sometimes it's just rare to get free things. I find that sometimes when we table now, like we'll give away like bookmarks or like a free copy of our Sage Precious Sandstone publication. People are always like, "Can I take this? Like, is it okay?" It's like, "Yes, yes, you can take it. Please do."
Yeah, exactly. And it was exciting too because the bookstores we collaborated with, they specialize in BIPOC authored
Mm.
books, and a lot of the kids there, identify as BIPOC. So being able to pick out these books, that kind of I think represent more of their lived experience was really exciting, and they were excited about it too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's really awesome. And okay, so something that came to mind just now, I'm sorry, it's not related to what you're saying, but I was thinking about my experience in Arizona and how most of it was spent in Tucson. That's where my ex-boyfriend lives. So I spent a lot of time in Tucson and near the University of Arizona there. And then when I went up to Phoenix, it was usually just to go to the airport. But I also remember that the Musical Instrument Museum was there. And I was just wondering if you've ever been to the Musical Instrument Museum because I've never been able to walk around. I think I only went to like the entrance and then I met someone for lunch there. But I think it's a really special museum. And the fact that it's located in Phoenix is also very, very special.
Yeah, I have been. But only once. I have to go back because, like you said, I was not expecting well, I think it's a large museum. There's so much stuff there. So we were only there for about 4 or 5 hours, which seems like a long time, but
Yeah, when you said
for
only,
the
only 4 5 hours.
I'll full disclosure, like when I go to museums, I might spend a day or more there.
Wow.
So um but there's a lot there is what I mean. Like
Hmm.
um it's a really interesting experience too, because you get your headphones and you can go to different stations, and each one kind of I think represents a different. They have instruments from a different country, and you'll get a little history on that. And they have examples of like the instruments, but then you get to listen to it too. So you do have to kind of take your time going to each of the stations, and there's so many of them, and it's so interesting. I went with a friend from Phoenix. I don't think she had been to it before, but um, yeah, we were just there for so long listening to things, and everyone has their headphones on, so it's actually very quiet in the museum. I know museums are quiet, but it's especially quiet because everyone's like in their own zone. And I just wasn't expecting how many, like the size of it and all the pieces there. It's a really amazing museum. And it's out in a pretty area in Phoenix. It's pretty north. So you kind of have to drive a little far out. It's near, I don't know if you got to go to Taliesin West when you're out in Phoenix.
Mm-mm.
It's Frank Lloyd Wright's old architecture school, but it's kind of around that area too. So I don't know if anyone on this call ends up going to Phoenix, you should definitely go to the Musical Instrument Museum. And I would, recommend at least a half day there if you want to trying to get to everything. We did not, but
Yeah, I definitely wanted to plug it because, when you're speaking about your work with museums and, of course, in Phoenix, I thought this is a very, very cool museum. And I also wanted to plug it because one of my friends from graduate school when I was at Indiana University, I believe he's now the curator for North America at the Musical Instrument Museum. One of the nicest people I've
oh.
ever met. No joke. If you think I'm nice, he's even nicer, like 10 times nicer. So Rich Walters is really fantastic person. So if you ever want to work with someone there, I'm happy to put you in touch, Julianne. Um, and
Definitely.
then the Musical Instrument Museum also has a great social media presence on Instagram if you follow them. Sometimes they'll share like very cool like video clips. So I encourage people to check them out. I'm going to switch topics again, and again, thinking about my times in Arizona spent with my ex, I really loved the food, and I think it's so interesting that, and I don't know if this is still the case, but I believe at the time when I was there, Tucson was the United States' only UNESCO's like officially recognized like gastronomical city or city of gastronomy. I forget what the exact designation was, and maybe that's still the case. But do you know about that, Julian?
I heard about that. I think your knowledge of Tucson is probably a lot more than mine, just because I've only been to Tucson a couple times, so I
Hmm.
haven't really gotten to explore the city. But I have heard that before, and I feel like I see a lot of articles about like different restaurants in Tucson. I know they have a lot of like historic neighborhoods with some really great restaurants too. But I have yet to explore that. It is on my to-do list. We'll be going down to Tucson in September for the Arizona English Teachers Conference because we partner with them as well to table. So I'm hoping to explore a little bit more down there. And I am open to recommendations from you, Kathleen, or anyone in the audience.
Yeah, everyone. So if anyone here is in Arizona, please send Julianne your Tucson thoughts. I'm gonna look this up really quickly because I always forget what it's called. So it's like the UNESCO, like like City of Gastronomy or something like that. But yeah, Tucson had some of the best food I've ever had.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
okay, so Tucson has been officially recognized by UNESCO as a city of gastronomy. And I think just the fact that it's the only city, I believe, in the United States, I just think that's really special. So I wanted to share that with everyone as like an Arizona fun fact.
Yeah, that is, I mean, and for everyone, watching today, Phoenix is only an hour and a half or 2 hours north of Tucson, so they're very close.
Yeah, definitely go and say hi to Julianne if you ever if you ever make it to Phoenix or check out an Arizona
Yeah.
Humanities event. Okay, I wanted to ask you a question that I ask of every first-time guest on our program, and I think you already know that this is coming. But Julianne, what do the humanities mean to you? There is no right or wrong answer. This
Yeah.
is very open-ended, but I like to know what the humanities mean to different people.
Yeah. And so I thought about this question. Um, and I think I wanted to start off by saying, like, I feel like the humanities to me has, and what that means to me has definitely changed over the past few years. So I think, especially when I was in grad school, I felt that the humanities, yes, it's the study of human culture, but through language, through art, through history. And that's kind of what my definition was kind of starting out here. But then since being at Arizona Humanities, and I kind of talked about this a little before, but I feel like my definition of the humanities has really, widened and
Mhm.
deepened just from having, conversations and going to programs with filmmakers and artists and authors. I feel like now I think of the humanities more as basically just what makes us human. I know that's a super broad definition. What does that mean, really? I'm not sure, but it's like I think of it as trying to understand like why we do the things we do, like who we are and like how we connect with each other. That's when I think of the humanities now. And it can be, manifested in so many ways. And it was actually this past weekend I finished reading a book called A Map for the Missing.
Mhm.
It's by Belinda Tang. I don't know if anyone on here has read that. But it's a historical fiction book because I like to read historical fiction. So you get like a little bit of like a snippet of what the kind of cultural and political milieu is in China in the 1970s. So it kind of flashes back between these two narrators who are living in the 90s and then flashing back to China in the 70s. So I on the one hand, you get that kind of, okay, it gives me a little bit more of a sense of the context of China in the 70s, but the story is really about like this narrator who's, has all these conflicts with his family, especially his father. And, there's a lot of just, I don't know how to explain it, human emotions and feelings about family and about love, because the two narrators had like this kind of teenage love and they got separated. And it talks a lot about hope because the two narrators are taking this, I think it's called the Cow. I'm probably mispronouncing it. It's a national exam that students take to get into college, and it's offered for the first time in like forever in the 1970s when these kids take it. And there's like this hope that they're going to leave the countryside and go to the city and go to college. And then there's also disappointment for some of the people in the book. And it kind of reminded me that, the humanities, you have these, even though this book is like, doesn't relate to my life at all, there's like this understanding of family connection, of disappointment, of hope, of love, like all these human emotions. And I feel like that is what the humanities kind of is. It's a common experience that everyone has, that everyone can relate to, even if it's a completely different culture, completely different time period. There's that human connection that everyone kind of understands. And I wish I could say that in a more articulate way, but I was just finishing this book this weekend, and I really thought about like, I had a lot of emotions while I was reading it. And I feel like that's kind of that human experience is something that the humanities is all about. So, you know, what makes us human, and then how do we connect with each other?
I love that. Yeah, when you find that moment of connection, like when you mentioned the event that you did recently at the library with like what is drag, and I guess the fact that so many people like, connected with that and were interested. Um, Thank you for sharing that, by the way. I want to read this book, so if you could share that title with me after stream, I would love to read it.
Yes.
We actually have a question in chat. So this question is, has there been a place that you have visited that has given you culture shock or just opened your eyes to something new and unique? I think this is a great question for Julian, since I know you've traveled. So maybe this might relate to something either abroad or at home.
Yeah. Um, Culture shock. I will say that, so I'm, child of immigrants. So I feel like I've always thought about, I've been lucky enough to experience other cultures, um, and think about, I feel like one thing that's important is to think about different perspectives and just understand different cultures outside of our own.
Hmm.
And I feel like as a child of immigrants, you do kind of get to experience that as at a young age. That's not to say I didn't have culture shock going to other countries, but I don't know if it was anything that I would find jarring. It's just a different way of experiencing life. So I don't want to say like I've never had culture shock, but it's just a different way of doing it. I just kind of, I guess, go with the flow. I would say like, um, I think I actually just find traveling and everyone I've been to, like, I wish things were like this back in the US. That's, I guess, what my main takeaway is, like going to other places and seeing how they do things, especially like cities where there's really good public transit. I like wish I could take that system and bring it to where we are in Phoenix. So I think, you know, I have been lucky enough to spend a lot of time in Greece, and I spent a lot of time in Athens, and like their public transit could be a little better, but it's like a walkable city, at least the parts that I lived in. And I miss that. And I think that's really awesome. For a lot of places I've traveled, it's very walkable. And I feel like that creates a better sense of connection and community when you can walk to places, and it's a little different than where we are in Phoenix, where you just get in your car and there's a little bit of a disconnect. So that's something that I think found that I've loved with traveling and being able to go to different places. I think so. I don't know if I guess that's culture shock, but it's like when I go to places, I find things that I really like, and I wish they were available here too. And I'm sorry if I'm being kind of vague about other things, but I can't think of like a negative culture shock, which I guess is good. It's always been positive. Like in Greece, people are super friendly. They all want to help you, and it's awesome. And I do wish that, was everywhere, but
Yeah, John says, thank you for your answer. I can definitely understand that, he says. Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like I think it's so important to travel just so you can experience life in other places. And it's always nice to sort of have that reference point of home or the US and just to understand that, your way of life isn't the way it is in other places. I think you get to cultivate some like empathy and just broaden your horizons when you travel for sure.
definitely.
Yeah, it made me just realize, Julianne, when you're asking about other languages, I think I got distracted by the game. I think I mentioned I took Tibetan in college, but then my last year of college, I'll just continue the answer. My fourth year of college, I think I was at the point where I'd finished all of the courses for my major, so I could like kind of take whatever I wanted, and I took Korean, the language, because again, I wanted to um, I don't know, learn another language, but it's also just sort of learning more about another way of life. And I loved it so much. And I kind of wish I had continued on with it. So now, like, kind of the only thing I've retained is that I can remember the Korean alphabet, which is actually extremely helpful when I went to Seoul and I had to get around on like public transit. And I was able to, like, even if I didn't understand what a sign meant and if there wasn't English, I could still like read it phonetically and then remember it that way. So that was
Yeah.
super helpful. And then in graduate school, because I minored in Central Eurasian Studies, I had to take Mongolian. And so I took Mongolian for a few years and then I did my dissertation fieldwork there. So I just realized I've sort of just naturally gravitated towards various Asian languages. But yeah, I love languages and just, what they say about, people. And they also make you think in different ways. I don't know if you've experienced that with the languages that you've taken, just when there's like different expressions or even like tenses or the ways that like sentences are ordered. I
Mm-hmm.
always find that it's almost like a puzzle. Even I know it's like Mongolian, right? Like the way like not every language is like subject, verb, noun, or whatever
Right.
the
Right.
SVO object. Like some things
Yes.
are different, so you have to like it's like a puzzle to figure out what goes where and how you express what you want to say.
Definitely. I mean, that's interesting, right? Because I feel like the English language word order is super important.
Hmm.
The meaning can totally change depending on where you put, your subject and object. But I feel like in other, at least some of the languages I've studied, like in Greek and Latin, I think they're called inflected languages, where like the ending of the word tells you the function in the sentence. So it'll tell you if it's an object or if it's a subject, and you can move things a little bit more around. And like you said, it's like a puzzle to kind of, at least from my perspective, because it's not something you're used to put it all together. And I think, so in undergrad, when I was taking Greek and Latin, I took some poetry classes. And it's just so interesting when you're reading poetry in Greek and Latin, because they would put things in a word order that kind of mimic the imagery of the poem. So
Oh,
if they're talking about like a necklace strung around like a woman's neck, they would actually like have the word like for neck in the middle and then have an adjective and then the word necklace kind of around that. So it's like there is an actual literary term for describing what I'm talking about right now, but I can't remember it. But it's just like a way to kind of visually mimic what's happening in the poem. And I thought that was so interesting. And it's something you can only do in certain languages. So
that's really
yeah,
cool. I
I
didn't know
think
that.
yeah, it's I don't know. I think I wish that I knew more languages because I feel like reading like a poem or even just prose in the original language, you know, you lose something when you have it translated.
Mhm.
I took Spanish in high school, and I really like the author Isabel Allende, and I do wish that I could read some of her books in the original Spanish, but I'm not that good, so it's English for me.
Yeah, do you have a, I don't know, if you ever have time, do you feel like is there like a bucket list of languages that you'd like to learn?
The top of my list is actually learning Japanese. So, my mother is Japanese and my father is Chinese, but he grew up in Japan. So they do speak Japanese at home, but it's not something I've picked up, maybe beyond the words that a 2 year old might know. So that's definitely something I want to learn. I took a little bit of Japanese as an undergrad, but I really didn't go that far with it. And when you don't practice a language, it just kind of dies in your brain. So that's definitely something that I wish I could become fluent in. I went to Japan this year actually,
Oh,
and
awesome.
yeah, it was a lot of fun, but I went with my partner, and a lot of people when they came up to us would think that I would know Japanese, but actually my partner knows a little bit more than me, and he's not Japanese. So they would be talking to me, and he'd be kind of responding, and but they'd still be looking at
Yeah.
me, and I'm like, I've got nothing. But that's definitely the top of my list. And then I know you were talking about Tibetan and hard languages. I did in grad school. I took Egyptian hieroglyphs. It was like a just hieroglyphs for reading like inscriptions on monuments. So it was not like a full like I'm not like I can't just read it or something. But it was a very difficult class, but it was a lot of fun. And it's so different than other languages and really just so hard.
Did you have to learn how to write in hieroglyphs too, or is it just reading?
So we learned some basic hieroglyphs.
Okay.
And I'll say there's like, I don't really remember that much, but there's a lot of different birds, and a lot of them look like little chicken nuggets, and it's so hard.
Did you say chicken nuggets?
Yes, well, there was one bird that we called the chicken nugget bird. I don't remember what sound it stood for, but there's a lot of different. It's a very difficult language, but it is satisfying when you feel like you've cracked the code and figured out what a sentence
I
means.
love that. I'm gonna look into this. I do have friends who took hieroglyphs, like Egyptian hieroglyphics in college, and I think one later on in life also picked it up, and she was like very like interested.
Wow,
So props to them for just continuing that like later on in life, like on their own, because yeah, it seems very difficult, but also like again, like you said,
definitely.
probably very fun. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a small class that I took with a couple other grad students, and it's a great bonding experience together. Just, trying to learn a language with other people. So it was fun.
Yeah, no, Tibetan was definitely like, I think it was me and maybe two or three other undergraduates, and then the rest were two or three graduate students, like master students. So yeah, a very, very like small, intimate class of Tibetan language learners, and then yeah, it was great fun. So I guess as an end, I guess we're sort of coming to the end of our stream. So I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions. But again, if anyone in chat wants to ask Julianne any more questions or share, Arizona like recommendations or interesting facts, feel free to do so. But Julianne, I am curious, what are your personal top three places in Arizona? This could be, somewhere that you might take someone or just somewhere that's like very meaningful to you.
Yeah. So I thought about this, and just so everyone in the audience knows, I have not been able to explore a lot of Arizona yet, but if I were to pick my top three places, um, if you're in Phoenix, there is a really great municipal park called South Mountain Park that just has really great hiking, and you get a really great view of the city. Um, and also, the parking is abundant. I know that sounds silly, but there's a lot of hiking trails where they're just really popular. So it gets really crowded in South Mountain. Almost ample parking, lots of different trails like all over, and it's just gorgeous. And I feel like you get it's like a beautiful Arizona like desert area. So you get the whole Arizona vibes if that's what you're going for. And we like to go on the weekends with our dogs. They like the trail. There's even like there's a wheelchair accessible trail in that park as well. So it's fun for anyone. My other recommendations, they're all kind of like lean outdoors because the weather is so nice out here, except now. Um, the Desert Botanical Gardens in Phoenix is beautiful. They have like hundreds and hundreds of different types of cacti, not just from the Sonoran Desert, but from all over the world. And it's, my partner, I go a lot, and then we'll just read all the didactics and we relearn things every time because I'll just forget and they'll be like, oh, that's a cool fact. It's a really fun, beautiful gardens to go. That's a place that we take a lot of out of state visitors. We go there. And then there's also the Boyce Arboretum, which is in Superior, Arizona. So it's maybe an hour outside of Phoenix. That's just a really great place to go to bring out of state guests, but also it's just a beautiful walking trail around this beautiful garden. I forget how many miles it is, but it's definitely, I think you should just go if you're in the area, and you can bring your dogs. So that's another thing. So we have dogs and we like to bring them places. So that kind of is molding some of my answers. These are all places we brought dogs. And this is a fourth thing, but if you're in Sedona, the West Fork Trail it's a beautiful trail. It's not like the Red Rock kind of Sedona, but it's more like you go through a forest and through a bunch of creeks, and it's a really beautiful trail. So I think if you're in Arizona, you should definitely take advantage of that kind of outdoor beauty.
Sedona is definitely really beautiful. I guess I've been to like Sedona and then Flagstaff on my way up to the Grand Canyon, and so
Yes.
yeah. Thank you for those answers. I don't take my dog nearly enough places. So listening to you makes me think I should start taking him outside more. He's just very anxious, and he's also bad about drinking water. So like if we want to take him out for an
Um,
extended period of time, like he's like very picky. Maybe it's because he's a Shiba Inu. I don't know. But like we'll bring like the bowl and like bring water, and he doesn't like to drink. So sometimes our outings have to be pretty short, which is tough.
yeah, yeah. Maybe you can kind of like build up to
Yeah.
something. My, I don't like I have two dogs, so one of them is a lab mix, and she's like, hiking is not her favorite thing. It's not like I'm doing any intense hiking, just to be clear with the
Yeah.
audience. Like these are all these are all easy trails. But she will drink like two of my water bottles, so I have to bring so many water bottles.
Yeah, the opposite
But she,
problem. Yeah. What is your other
um,
dog? So you have a lab mix and then
and then the other one is the shelter said I think is a mini Schnauzer mix, but she looks like mini Schnauzer Terrier kind of mix. She's very cute. She's a lot smaller. She's 15 pounds, and then our lab mix is 75
wow.
pounds. So they're a cute pair.
Well, thank you so much for those answers. Julianne, is there anything else you want to share with people today before we end our stream? I'm really, grateful that we've gotten to learn a little bit more about you and your background, the work that you're doing at Arizona Humanities, exciting places in Arizona. So I'm just wondering if there's anything else you want to share, either about your work or things coming up. And also, no worries if you don't have anything else to share. But I thought this is sort of like your chance if there was something that you wanted to say earlier and didn't get to.
Yeah, I'll just make a quick plug for Arizona Humanities public programs. So we're going to have a lot of virtual programs under the Representation Matters and Climate Conversation series coming up this fall. So we should be having marketing out soon. So no matter where you are, you can join a virtual program. And since I think there might be council people on this call, I'd love to connect if you want to talk about programs or if you want to recommend any books or games. I want to be able to connect with other council people from other states. And I'm really glad that you have this program going, Kathleen. I think this was a great idea for everyone to kind of learn from each other. So I will be tuning into the other conversations happening.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just thought, last year was sort of my like first like in-person National Humanities Conference, and it's just always so nice and rewarding to meet people in person. Like you said, online events are great, but there's nothing quite like being in a room full of people and getting to make these face-to-face connections. So I'm really looking forward to the National Humanities Conference in October this fall in Indianapolis. And I'm also excited because it's in Indiana, so I'm hoping to sort of take some time to see some friends and family in the area if I'm able to. But yeah, thank you again so much for meeting with me. So this will be recorded. It will be up on YouTube, and once it is, I'm happy to share it with you. If if Arizona Humanities wants to share this, just to let people know if they missed it, and then yeah, we'll tag you. But um, I don't know. I would
All
love to
right.
have you back on in the future if you would like to chat some more. Maybe we can continue and play some more levels of A Little to the Left.
That would be great.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day. I guess before we leave, I have one more quick plug. So, we are going to be back this Thursday, July 20th at 6 p.m. Pacific with Dr. Valerie Fridland from the University of Nevada, Reno. I am really excited for this one. I hope you guys are too. We're going to be playing, this is our first time doing this on stream. We're going to try and play some games. This is going to be open to people in the chat if they would like to join, but we're going to play some word based party games, some Jackbox games with her. And we're also going to be discussing her newest book that's called, I love this title, like literally, dude, colon, arguing for the good in bad English. So you can come to her for all of your bad English questions and comments. And we're also going to play some games. So that's this Thursday. And then next Tuesday and Thursday, these are the streams that Julianne was talking about. Next Tuesday, 12 p.m. Pacific, we'll be playing The Midnight Bakery with Chrissy Widmeyer from Wisconsin Humanities. Really excited about that. And then the following Thursday, we'll be playing Firewatch with Lucas Freilich from Wyoming Humanities. We played Firewatch earlier with Sam from Indiana, but because this is based in sort of like a fictitious Wyoming, Lucas and I thought it'd be fun to play it again, but this time from his perspective as someone who lives and works in Wyoming. But don't forget, you can always learn more about our programs on our website and our list of upcoming streams. And then you can also check out our YouTube channel. And then finally, we do have a survey link. So if you ever have time and would like to fill it out, we'd love to know, how we can improve our channel and our program. So you're welcome to go to this link in a chat and fill it out. But yeah, Julianne, thank you again so much for being on our program. I am going to send us off to the goodbye stream, but I hope to see people later. And thank you again so much.
Thank you.